Hello, my wonderful kids. Welcome to another interesting science lesson. My name is Ernest Atto Benter. Kids, we are here again for another lesson. In our previous lesson, we talked about parts of a plant. Parts of a plant. And remember, plants are parts of living things. Today, we are going to look at another living thing. The topic for today is basic structure of animals. Basic structure of animals. In our last lesson, we talked about plants. Today, we are going to talk about animals. Basic structure of animals. And kid, before we do that, let's mark the homework you were given in the previous lesson on parts of a plant. So write the names of the parts of the plant. So we are starting from A. So what's the name given to A? Good. Flower. So this part of the plant labeled A is called flower. B. Good. Leaf. Leaf. And as I said in the previous lesson, if it's one, you call it leaf. If it's more than one, you call it leaves. The next one, C, is the stem. So this part of the plant is called the stem. The long part that you see here is called the stem. And then the last part, being the D, is known as roots. So the parts of a plant are flower, leaf or leaves, stem, and then roots. So Kate, I believe you had the answers right. I trust you. I believe you had it right. So let's move to today's topic on basic structure of animals. Basic structure of animals. So you can see a hen, you can see a zebra, you can see a goat on your screen. We are going to look at their basic structure. When we talk about their basic structure, we are looking about their main parts. Their main parts. Kids, let's visit the lesson objectives. If you pay attention, you'll be able to mention the names of some animals by the end of the lesson. You'll be able to mention the names of some animals. And then you'll be able to state three basic structure of an animal. State the three basic structure of an animal. So mention the names of some animals and then state the three basic structure of an animal. Okay, that is what I want you to know after the end of this lesson. Let's start with some examples of some animals. We are going to look at basic structure of animals. So let's start by looking at some examples of animals. So examples of some animals are, we have ant here. So this animal is called an ant. You have butterfly. You have butterfly. You have bird. Bird. So you have ant, butterfly, bird. They are all examples of animals. Let's look at another set. We have hen. We have cock. So this is female, the hen is female, the cock is male. And then we have cat. So hen, cock, and then cat are examples of some animals. Yes. You have a nice dog here. So this is a dog. We have goat here, and then we have lizard. So dog, goat, lizard are all examples of some animals. Dog, goat, and then lizard are all examples of some animals. Let's look at these examples also. We have sheep, we have mouse, we have snail. Sheep, mouse, and then snail are all examples of some animals. Sheep, mouse, and then snail. They are all examples of some animals. Let's look at another set. We have rabbit, we have monkey, and we have fish. Rabbit, monkey, and then fish are also examples of some animals. So Kate, we have gone through some examples of some animals. Now let's look at the basic parts of an animal, or the basic structure of an animal. We have, the animals are made up of different parts. All the animals that we went through, they have different parts, but they have three most important basic parts, and that is what we are going to look at. They have many different parts, but they have three most important different parts, and these three important basic parts have the other parts in them. So if you take this hen, if you take the zebra, and then if you take the goats, they all have some basic parts, and that is what we are going to look at. The basic parts of an animal are, we have the head, we have the trunk, and then we have limbs. Head, trunk, and then limbs. Head, trunk, and then limbs. So let's look at where these parts are located on these animals. We are saying the basic parts of an animal are the head, the trunk, and then limbs. So let's look at where they are located on these animals. So okay, we have a goat on our screen, a goat on our screen, and we are going to look at the basic parts of this goat. You say we have head, the trunk, and then the limbs. So the first part is the head, and this is the head. So this is the head of the goat. So this is the first part of the animal, the head. The head, and what you see on the screen is the head. The next part is the trunk, and this is the trunk or the body of the animal. So from the head you come to the main body of the animal, and that is what we call trunk. So the main body of the animal is called trunk. Then the last one, we say we have three: head, trunk. So right now we know of the head, we know of the trunk. The last one, we call it limbs, and the limbs are the legs of the animal. The limbs are the legs of the animal. So the basic parts are the head, the trunk, and the limbs. And what you have is the last part, that is the limbs. The limbs also refers to the legs of the animal. If you look at this goat, you can see two legs at the front and two legs at the back. The front legs, as you see on the screen, the front legs are called forelegs. Forelegs. The front legs are called forelegs. Kate, say it after me. Forelegs. Good. Forelegs. The front legs are called forelegs. And the two legs at the back are called hind legs. Hind legs. So animals with 4 legs. 2 in front are called forelegs, and 2 at the back are called hind legs. So kids, these are the basic parts of an animal. Let's look at them. We have the head, we have the trunk, and we have legs. Head, trunk, and then legs. So let's arrange this parts or these parts we have to get the full animal. So I'll put the head on the trunk. So I have the head and then the trunk. Still the animal is not complete. So I'll bring the leg and then I'll have the full animal. Let's do it again. I'll put the head on the trunk. Still the animal is incomplete. The animal cannot walk because this animal is without legs. If I bring the legs here, I will get the full animal. Good. Okay, so the basic parts of an animal, we have the head, the trunk, which is the main body of the animal, and then limbs, also known as legs. The limbs can be hands and then legs. But if you look at the goat use all the 4 limbs to walk. So the goat has 4 legs. 2 in front called forelegs and 2 at the back called hind legs. Now let's look at the basic parts of this dog. What you see on your screen is a dog. So let's name the parts of the dog using these 3 basic parts. The first one is the head. So this is the head. Yes, this is the head. The second one is the trunk. That is the main body. And the last one are the limbs. So the limbs, we have 2 in front called forelegs, 2 at the back called hind legs. So these are the basic parts of this dog: head, trunk, and then limbs, also called legs. Let's look at another animal. Kate, what animal do you see here? Good, sheep. So where's the first part? Yes, what's the name given to the part circled? Good, the head. So this is the head of this sheep. The next one is the trunk, and the trunk forms the main part of, or the main body of the sheep. And then the last one is the limbs, the legs. So the legs too, we have 2 in front called the forelegs, and then 2 at the back called hind legs. So the parts of this sheep: head, the trunk, and then the limbs, also called legs. Let's look at another animal. Oh, just a lion. So let's look at the basic parts of this lion. First, you have the head. So this is the head of the lion. The next part is the trunk. That's the main body of the lion. And the last one is the limbs. We have 4 limbs and then hind limbs. So the 4 legs and then the hind legs, and they make up the limbs or the legs. Good. Let's look at another animal. What you have on your screen is a tortoise. So let's look at the basic parts of this tortoise. The first one, as usual, is the head. So this is the head of the tortoise. The next one is the trunk. The trunk is found under the shell of the tortoise. The shell of the tortoise covers the main body of this tortoise. And then the last one is the limbs. So the front one are called forelegs, and the back one is known as hind legs. So head, trunk, and limbs or legs forms the main part of this tortoise. Let's look at another one. What you have on your screen is called a hen. A hen. It's a female fowl, a hen. So let's arrange the parts of the hen. The first one, good, head. The second one is trunk, that's the main body. And then the last one, that is legs. So the hen has only two, so they are called legs. We don't have forelegs and hind legs. They have only two, so they are known as legs. Kate, another animal. Can you identify this animal? Good. This is an eagle. This is an eagle. So let's arrange the parts of this eagle too. The first one is the head. Yes, so this is the head of the eagle. The second part is the trunk. This is the trunk of the eagle. That's the main body of the eagle. The last one, the limbs or the legs. Yes. Eagle also has two legs. So no forelegs or hind legs. They have only two. Good. Okay, so now that we have gone through the three basic parts or structure of an animal, being the head, the trunk, and then the limbs, let's look at the function these three basic parts also perform. You see, when we dealt with plants in our previous lesson, we went through the functions of all the parts of the plant. The same way, we are going to go through the functions. The head plays the function, the trunk or the main body plays for the animal, and then the function the legs also play. Let's start with the head. The head. So you see a goat here. So the head, what is the main function of the head? The head contains the following. The first one is the nose. The nose. And they use the nose to breathe and smell things. So the nose is located on the head. And they use it to breathe and then smell things. The next thing you can find on the head, the eyes. They use their eyes to see. And they have the eyes on the head. The next one, the ears. See the ears of the goat. They use it to hear things. And then they also have the mouth. They use their mouth to eat and then drink. They also use their mouth to make sounds. The goats also use their mouth to make sounds. So the nose, the eyes, the ears, the mouth are all found on the head. And that makes the head very important to the animal. So the head contains the following: nose, eyes, ears, and then mouth. And the nose is used to breathe and smell things, the eyes to see, the ears to hear, and the mouth to eat and drink. And they also use it to make sounds. Now let's look at the trunk. The trunk is the main body of an animal. The trunk is the main body of an animal. And this trunk contains the chest of the animal, the stomach of the animal, the back of the animal, and then the waist of the animal. You also have chest, you have stomach, you have back, and you have waist. So the trunk, which is the main body of an animal, contains the chest, the stomach, the back, and then the waist. So this is the function of the trunk. It contains all these: chest, stomach, back, and then waist. Now let's look at the last one: limbs. Limbs, or the legs. The limbs refers to the hands and legs of animals, and the limbs help animals to move. So the limbs, also known as the legs, help animals to move. They help animals to move. So look at this dog. This dog is moving using the limbs, that is the legs. And four-legged animals, that is animals with 4 legs, have 2 in front, called the forelegs, and 2 at the back, called the hind legs, and they use them to move. If you look at this horse also, they are moving. This horse is moving with the limbs, 2 in front and then 2 at the back. So the limbs helps animals to move. The limbs help animals to move. And they move to find food, they move to find water, they move to run away from danger, or they move to find a place to sleep. So the legs helps animals to move, as you see on your screen. They are using their legs or limbs to move. Now, Kate, when you talk about the legs, some animals have 2 limbs or legs. Some animals have 2. An example is the hen, the duck, and then a bird. So all birds have 2 legs. So the hen, the duck, and bird, they have what? 2 legs. 2 legs. So some animals have 2 legs. Good. Some animals also have 4 legs. 4 legs. And examples are dog, can see dog on your screen, can see horse, can see cat. There are more animals that have 4 legs. You have sheep, you have goat, you have pigs. They all have 4 legs. So some animals have 2. Others also have 4 legs, but they are all called limbs. Whether you have 2 or 4, they are called limbs. We have some group of animals too with 6 legs. 6 legs. And they are called insects. So an insect like mosquito have 6 legs. A bee have 6 legs. Cockroach have 6 legs. So some animals have 6 legs. And examples are mosquito, a bee, and then the cockroach. Good. Okay, some animals also have 8 legs. 8 legs. And examples are octopus and then spider. They have 8 legs. So you see 4 on your right, 4 on your left, if you count them. So some animals have 8 limbs. And examples are octopus and spider. Octopus and spider. Great. Kids, interestingly, some animals have no limbs at all. They have no legs. Some animals have no limbs. They have just the body, the head, and then the trunk. They have no limbs. An example is the snail. Snail has no legs. A snake have no leg. So a snail and a snake, they have no limbs. They have no limbs. Okay, we are almost at the end of this lesson. And in this lesson, we looked at basic structure of animals. basic structure of animals. So the basic structure of an animal, we looked at the head, the trunk, and then the limbs, also called legs. So let's arrange it, all the parts we see, the head, the trunk, and then the legs, to get the full animal. So we will just put the head on the trunk and then the leg to help us get a full animal. Let's do it again. You have the head here, you put it on the trunk, which is the main body, and then the legs will follow, and we get a full animal. So the basic parts of an animal are the head, the trunk, and then legs. And we also looked at the parts they also perform. If you look at the head, the eyes, the ear, the mouth, the nose are all found on the head. If you look at the trunk, which forms the main body of the animal, have the chest, the stomach, the back, and then the waist. And then the limbs, also called the legs. We have animals with 4 legs. We have 2 forelegs at the front and 2 at the back, called hind legs. And they use it to move. They move to find food. They move to find water. They move to find a place to sleep. So these are the basic parts of an animal. Now, kids, as usual, let's go through this test to see how well you understood the lesson. 1. Which part of the animal is pointed below? So where the arrow is pointing, what is the name we give to it? Good, head. So this part is called the head. This part is called the head. 2. How many limbs or legs does a goat have? How many limbs? So if you count, 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. So a goat has 4 limbs or 4 legs. 3. Which parts of the animal is the arrow pointing? So you see the red arrow. Where is it pointing? Is it the leg, the head, or the trunk? Good. Trunk. So this part of the animal where the red arrow is pointing is called the trunk. 4. How many legs or limbs does a hen have? How many legs? You can count how many? 2. Very good. So this hen has 2 legs. And the last one, the bee has dash legs. So kids, count. How many legs? Great. 6. 6. So the bee has 6 legs. Very good. You have all done well. Very good. Very good. Now, kids, let's take this homework and then do it. So as you did for part of the plants, write the name of A, the name for B, and the name for C in your books. So A, what is the name given to this part? Then you go to B, what is the name given to this part? Then go to C, then you write the name given to that part. So this is your homework. Make sure you do it. And I believe you will get all the answers right. We have come to the end of this lesson, and I believe you enjoyed this lesson on basic parts of an animal, being the head, the trunk, and then the limbs. Kids, make sure you do your homework, and until we meet again next time, this is your teacher, Ernest Ato Bento. Bye-bye.